What do you get when someone wants to remake Defender on a next-gen console? You get Resogun. And today, we're going to be going through the basics. Hello everyone, and welcome to another Geeks on the Side video. I am your host, Editor AJ, and tonight I'm going to be trying something out here. I'm going to try out a series or an idea that I have called Just the Basics. What this is going to do is we're just going to pick a game. I'm going to start with Resogun because it's a pretty simple one for the idea, and I'm going to take you through the absolute basics of just playing the game. Now, you might say, okay, why do we need that? Most of us are gamers, we know what we're doing, etc., etc. Well, maybe you need it, maybe you don't. Maybe it's something to show someone who's just getting into it, someone younger, who knows, who cares? I don't. We're going to try it out anyway. So, in Resogun here, you can see, there's single-player, multiplayer, challenges, etc., etc. You can even make your own ship, but obviously we're just going to go through single-player. This is a circular, as the menu design looks. This is a circular, technically side-scrolling shmup, shoot 'em up, with a little bit of bullet hell mixed into it, and it's basically a rebirth of the old Atari game, the Defender. Excuse my stutter. So, in Defender, the goal was to shoot down all the aliens and rescue all the humans that they were trying to kidnap from the cities, basically. This is just a more advanced version of that. It's the same concept. Kill the aliens, rescue the humans, get points, power up your weapons, kill the bosses, etc., etc. And it's a pretty fun game. It was a release title, maybe not a release title, but it was definitely a launch, close to launch title on PS4 originally, because it was really trying to show off what it could do graphically. Let's see here, quick facts about it. It was DICE 2014 Action Adventure Game of the Year. We have, like I said, it draws heavy inspiration from Defender, and that's really the main bulk of it. There's other acclaims to it, and it is based off a couple other games made by the same developer, but we'll get into the gameplay stuff here. So in single player, again, you have multiple different modes. You have the standard arcade mode, you have a survival mode, protector, challenges, feats, commando. Commando, you actually play as one of the humans and you have to shoot the aliens out of the sky. That can be kind of fun. Demolition, single level. So we're just going to go through the arcade and we'll just do a single level here. Alright, and different difficulties, rookie, experienced, veteran, and master, which I haven't unlocked because I'm honestly not that good. That's why I'm doing a basics video. I am not an advanced player at all. I'm just going to keep it on rookie, just because. So when you first start the game, you start with only 3 ships. Pretend all these slots down here are empty, they mean nothing right now. You start with 3 ships, and that's all that's in the game, 3 ships. That's the main thing. First one you get is Nemesis. Nemesis is a light fighter. It's very agile, very quick, very maneuverable. Not so much on the weapons though. It's the weakest weapon in the game, standard weapon that comes with the ships. And the cool thing about Nemesis though is not only is it very agile, but once you keep upgrading its standard weapon, it becomes homing lasers. Or I guess not homing missiles, no, I would say homing lasers, which does come in really handy in later levels. But since its weapon is a lot weaker, it does take longer to take down the bosses. The default ship that basically is the complete middle ground, as you can see here by all the stats, 555, is Ferox. Ferox's weapon doesn't do any kind of homing or anything. It doesn't do a spread. What it does is shoot in a straight line. But the more times you upgrade it, the more lines shoot out. So that's pretty cool. Again, it gives you coverage on the screen. Just a different way. Most people see this as the default for the entire game there. It's also the cover ship for the game. And then last but not least, we have Phobos, the big gun. Phobos is not very fast, not very agile, but it packs one hell of a punch. It's the hardest hitting default weapon in the game, next to like bombs and boosts and all that. We'll get into that, and overdrive. We'll get into all those in a minute here. This ship is my personal favorite. you know, you gotta try them all and see which one fits your play style. Originally, I thought Nemesis was going to be the best because of the homing missiles or homing lasers, but it's just too, it doesn't hit hard enough for me. So when I started flying around in Phobos, I was like, okay, this is the ship I want because it gets the job done and it does it well. Now, speaking of moving around the screen, different stats and things like that, you see each ship has its own set of stats here down in kind of the bottom right. Agility, boost, and overdrive. Alright, so starting off, we'll go back to Nemesis here. Agility 7, boost 7, overdrive 1. So, agility, what does that mean? That is how easily your ship moves around the level. Up, down, left, right, any direction possible. How easily and nimbly it moves. How fluid it moves, basically. Next, boost. Boost is a tactic you can use to get around the screen quicker, and it has a couple of different effects on it. It's triggered by L1, pressing the shoulder button L1 here, and what it does is it basically puts the ship into a quick hyperdrive, basically. With that, again, you can cover a lot of area on the screen. So let's say a human that you need to rescue is really far away. You need to get to him quick before an alien picks him up. You can get there very fast. Likewise with boost, you can also ram through enemies or ram into enemies, causing them damage, and you don't take any damage until it runs out. If you hit an enemy, you know, right after the boost runs out, you will take damage, you will lose a ship, etc., etc., just as if you didn't activate boost at all. So it is a little bit about timing. Speaking of timing with boost, there is also a way to get out of being damaged by enemy bullets that I would say is more of an intermediate skill, because it does take practice and it does take really good timing to get it done. So we probably won't see that in the video here. And again, bringing up the rear, overdrive. Overdrive is your main super weapon. Okay, it's triggered by pressing again one of the shoulder buttons, which we'll see a control scheme here in a minute. And this just releases a ginormous amount of energy, covers the entire length of the screen. Technically it'll wrap around the corners, and it will destroy anything in its path. Enemies, enemy bullets, anything. Except for obviously the environment, because that's just a background basically. But it is the main super of the three ships. And those are all the default weapons and stats. There are two other weapons in the game. Actually, it's only really one because we covered boost. So the only other weapon in the game is a bomb, which clears everything on the screen briefly, quickly, and yeah, that's about it. You know, it's pretty self-explanatory there. So to start us off here, I'm going to pick my favorite ship, which is Phobos, and we're going to go through a level, and I'll explain some things as we do. Alright, so here are all the different levels. Axes, Ceres, Decima, Febris, and Mephistus, or Mephitis, I don't know really how to say that. The brain not work good. But anyway, you go through the levels, etc., etc. We're going to start on Axis because it's the first. It's technically the tutorial level, but there's not really a tutorial for this game. Like, it gives you little on-screen instructions in there while you're playing it, but realistically, if you first time playing it, you don't know what to look for, you might not even catch them. So we're going to pick this level, and let's get started. Here's our control scheme here. So this is good. We'll have a still shot of this later on, probably, or maybe in the corner of the video. It does also give you little tips here. If you hit L1, R1 to cycle through them, it talks about your multiplier, which is another game mechanic, and we'll get into that in just a moment. So let's start the game here.
Save the last humans.
Alright, save the last humans. So there's my big cannon. It just blows up the aliens, and when they die, they drop these little green cubes that you have to collect. Now these aliens are highlighted green, and that means they're keepers. What happens when you kill keepers? You let the humans out of their cages. The humans are in all kinds of different forms. Actually, right now I'm carrying a turkey because it's on random. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. And then when you pick up a human, you drive them to, drive them, fly them, whatever, to the little pods here,
Shields.
and you get a random reward. It might be shields, it might be points, it might be an overdrive upgrade. Here's a weapon upgrade that just dropped from the ceiling, so I'm going to grab that. So now my gun shoots a little faster and is slightly more powerful. Alright. Go through and eventually more keepers will show up. Alright, now right there it said multiplier up. Pick up the human. So the multiplier you see in the middle of the screen, it's the 2.23 up there or whatever. And basically what that is that's your score multiplier. The better your score, the more things you'll get, the more points you get at the end. You know, it's an arcade game. The goal is to get the high score. That's what it is. On lower levels, it maxes out at 5. It can go up to, I think, 20 at the highest difficulty level. You won't see me playing that. I am just not that good. Alright. Drop off my human.
Phase complete.
Gonna watch these guys.
Overdrive charged.
Alright, there we go. Overdrive is charged. So I've picked up enough little green squares to charge up my big overdrive cannon. And we'll go ahead and demonstrate boost here. So like I said, boost, you can ram through enemies and get to a place on the screen quicker. Ran through them. And I dropped off the human, it gave me points. Cool. Like I said, it's a random reward every single time. Alright, and there's an audio cue when you use boost that basically it'll, when it recharges, you'll hear a little, like a zoom. And if I wasn't talking over it, you'd probably hear it a little better. But I'll increase the volume in the video here in post, and we'll point that out. Alright, so I'm kind of in a predicament here. So let's use a bomb. Oh, actually, I hit the overdrive button. Haha! My bad. Anyway, don't worry about hitting the humans with your weapons. It won't affect them in the least. But there's a bomb. Human lost. Well, I didn't get enough points to rescue that human, so. And that'll happen sometimes too. Like if you're not very good at the game, you won't get enough points to rescue the human, and you'll lose them. It's, you know, kind of a check almost. I'm not a total fan of it, but at the same time, yeah, it's part of the game. Let me get this guy here. Oh, missed weapon power up. Gotta get that. Now you see I've got a little bit more of a shotgun spread here, which is kind of nice. Especially for dealing with those.
Complete. Bomb. Maximum multiplier.
And there's my maximum multiplier. There are standard humans in the level, and there are also extra humans that you unlock by getting more points. You know, it just depends on how good you are. If you're just getting a feel for the game, don't really worry about it too much. But as you get better, you can unlock more and up the difficulty. Yeah. Stupid aliens.
Multiplier lost.
Yeah, and if you don't hit something enough, within enough time, you'll lose your multiplier, just like I did there. Just one quick note I wanted to make. You can only carry one human at a time. So if you try to pick up multiple, it won't work.
Extra life.
Alright, cool. I got an extra life out of that one. You can see up top the human counter shows how many have I rescued, how many have I lost. So apparently, somehow I lost one regular one, but I got both of the extra ones, which is kind of funny. Kind of dumb how that can happen. You've got your counter up there for the ships. It's on the far left. The little explosion symbol is obviously the bomb. And we already talked about the multiplier, and then your score is on the far upper right. You gotta watch too when they spawn in. If they're about to spawn in, they'll show those white squares. And if you're standing there, like if your ship's in one of those white squares, it'll turn red because when they spawn in, it will damage you. So you got to be careful of that. You want to always try to keep moving in this game as much as possible. They say agility is your friend. Well, not when you're flying Phobos, but
Multiplier up.
let's use that overdrive. 'Cause why not? See, I'm just annihilating everything on the screen. Wonderful weapon. I might even be able to recharge it before the boss. You can see the boss starting to form in there. Kill these guys before they run away. Alright, so I didn't recharge it before the boss. Here, we'll do the boost one more time. There's the sound effect for recharge of the boost. You can see Phobos takes the boss's armor down pretty quick because of that big weapon. It's another thing I want to talk about too. You don't have to be flying in the direction you're shooting. You can shoot in either direction and move in either direction. And there we go. Now, there's a whole bunch of different enemy types in there too. Like I said, we covered the keepers and the standard ones. As you advance through the levels, you'll see a lot more different enemy types. They'll do different things. They'll start shooting at you, etc., etc. But that's it. That is the basics of Resogun. It's a very fun game. It can even be competitive at times, depending on you or your friends trying to race for the high score. You can see here the score sheet at the very end. It tells you how many humans you saved, secret humans, your total score, multipliers. If you get all humans saved, you'll get extra bonus. If you get a multiplier master and hold it for an extended amount of time, you'll get an extra bonus. Invincible means you didn't die, or I didn't die, so you get bonus points for that. You get extra points for not using all of your bombs. And you get the bonus scores for whatever other special stuff and the total at the end. It's a really, like I said, it's a fun game. It's very cool. It's definitely graphically pleasing. It's and like I said, when you get into the later levels, it does become very hectic and very challenging, which makes it a lot of fun. That's pretty much it for Resogun. I hope you enjoyed this basic video. Thanks for watching.